Good evening, good afternoon, good morning. We are meeting on behalf of Cluster API provider Azure, CapZ. Today is Thursday, April 13th, 2023. CapZ is a part of Cluster API, which is a part of SIG Cluster Lifecycle in the CNCF. We abide by that code of conduct. Please be kind to one another. Please raise hands if you want to speak. And without further ado, let's get to our structured topics. So we're going to do milestone at the end. At the beginning of every meeting, we pause to allow folks who are new or for any reason whatsoever want to raise hands and say hi, introduce yourself. So I'll do that now. All right, I think I recognize everybody. So that silence makes perfect sense. So yeah, we'll do milestone at the end. And it looks like we've got a KubeCon casual office hours. So let's get straight to it by polling the room for who's going to KubeCon EU next week. Any raised hands? Or just feel free to unmute and Ashtosh, have fun. What are you doing at KubeCon?
Thanks. I'll be talking about CAPI and providers with Richard and Ankita, who are CAPA maintainers. So yeah, looking forward to the talk.
Super. Anyone else? Matt, I see in chat you've asked me to scroll up a bit. Is this what you mean? Or like further up?
I didn't want to raise my hand. Oh, maybe it's just me. Maybe my screen's not updating.
It's also not updating for me.
Oh,
I see what's going on. I don't know how that happened. It's so weird. I will just do this.
no worries. I didn't want to raise my hand.
I had two tabs of the same. I assume this is the same doc. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
I don't know how that happened. Okay.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you for letting us know. Letting me know. The royal we. All right, cool. So good luck in KubeCon. Ashtosh, I'm glad that you'll be there to represent CAPI and providers. That sounds fun. Next agenda item, should we cancel this meeting next week because of KubeCon? Let's go ahead and invert the normal consensus. If anyone has any concerns about that, please raise hands. Otherwise, we'll do that by default. That's what, in my experience, the bulk of the community meetings are doing next week. Anyone want to meet next week? Cool. So we'll see folks in a couple weeks in terms of this discussion. And I think since we don't have any agenda items, does anyone want to add anything ad hoc? Or we can go straight to a quick milestone review. For folks who aren't going to KubeCon, next week is a great opportunity to do lots of interrupted work. So good luck. Myself, I'm going to be moving house, so I will be doing that interrupted work or uninterrupted work. Go ahead, Cecile.
Yeah, just a reminder that the ASO proposal consensus or lazy consensus deadline is tomorrow. So if you haven't looked at that yet and you would like to take a look at that, you have 24 hours. Otherwise, it's looking like it's in good shape. There's several LGTMs on it.
That is a good call out. I'll call out John. I think he's here. Are you here, John? Yeah, there you are. Great job, John.
Yeah, thanks.
All right. The ad hoc agenda items are coming fast and furious now. So should we do a patch release? That would have to be like right after this meeting. Is that your Matt? You're also raising your hand. I should just call on you.
Yeah, that
Matt.
was the whole thing. We finally got something in the branches, and it was your fix to return one from the CI startup scripts explicitly. So I don't know if that merits a patch release or not. I think that's all that's in 1.7 and 1.8 release branches.
Okay, cool. That's a great call out. That actually, I think, has a definitive answer, and the answer is no, because the consumers of that fix are the test grid jobs, which pin to the moving release branch itself and not a release.
Okay,
So those jobs should have, I'll check overnight, check on the status overnight. They should have run against those changes overnight.
okay, so I think that's a no.
Right, great call out.
Thanks.
And it keeps going. Everyone's doing great. All right, are we publishing the new minor / patches with the image builder Azure CNI data source fix? I'm going to pause, and whomever added that, feel free to just, it's your room.
Yeah, that was me. I'm just wondering if that's already started or if there's a plan to do that. I guess
Right,
it's a
so
question for Matt and or Nawaz.
So I'll give a little background. I think we talked about this last week. Nawaz added a cloud init configuration to accommodate Azure CNI to the image builder configuration, I think in the last couple of weeks. And we made an observation that the next time we cut a release, or the next time we built an image from a new Kubernetes release, then Azure CNI sort of functional testing would be unlocked to use the reference image. So in the last week, new Kubernetes images have been released. So I think this is a sort of rhetorical question. We definitely should be publishing images. So Matt, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say 127 came out. Nawaz is probably going to say exactly what I'm saying. And then the other patches came out last night. So today or tomorrow, I think Nawaz is planning to rebuild images, and they'll just inherit whatever's in image builder. So they'll get the CI change. Go ahead, Nawaz.
Oops. Yeah, Matt. Same thing. I was about to say the same. So, yeah, we should be publishing the new Kate's images with the image builder changes.
Cool, great call out, Cecile. I mean, almost, I'm thinking maybe we should have a more formal way of like going to last week's agenda items and seeing if anything carried over. Anyway, you did a great job in your brain, so we'll go with that this week. All right, going once, going twice, milestone review. Ooh, not sure what I just did. All right, milestones. So any votes for prune current milestone list first or audit issues first? Or audit PRQ first? If not, this is where inertia is taking us. So I'll just go down this list and make this bigger. Okay, this is really exciting. Go ahead, Cecile.
Yeah, not a vote, just I guess call out that we're technically halfway of the milestone. So just for context as we're going through these.
Yes, good call out. So we are, I would say we have crossed the boundary where it's appropriate to start making reasonable assumptions that stuff isn't going to get finished. So if something here you know about and you're definitely not working on it, then I think the default should be let's kick it to the next milestone because it probably won't land in time. So yeah, let's talk about this one first. So Nawaz, can you give us a 1.9 guesstimate on that effort?
On the Azure CNI stuff.
That's right, yeah.
Azure CNI, I have added the tests. I need to investigate why the tests are failing. I mean, on paper, the code looks like it should be working, but I don't know. I didn't get a chance to look into it, why it was failing. But apart from that, I think there shouldn't be anything that should be blocking it.
Okay, cool.
But yeah,
Is this the title of this is sort of open-ended? Is the scope defined in here somewhere? Go ahead, Cecile.
yeah, we probably have to scroll down. I have added some sub branches, sub tasks.
Ah, here we
over there.
go. Here we go. Here we go.
So, yeah, so the E2E tests, I have added the test, but they are not working right now. I think there are some minor bugs somewhere in there. So once that is done, then the E2E tests will be fixed, and then I'll have some documentation on how to use it.
Great. So the documentation is also to do.
Yes. So this issue primarily tracks the documentation.
Cool. I'm not hearing that we want to kick it out of the milestone. Is that right? So we'll keep it in.
Yeah. Yeah. Keep
Cool.
it in.
Cecile, go ahead.
Yeah, I was actually just going to point to the other like sub issues, and I was going to ask, should we maybe put the end-to-end test issue in the milestone, since that's what you're working on right now, and remove this big epic issue from it? Would that make sense? Or do we want to
Yeah,
keep
why
that
not?
one for documentation specifically?
The
Yeah, I think
end-to-end
we should
test
add
actually
both
is
of
in the
them.
milestone.
Both? Yeah, I think both make sense. Oh, it's in there. Okay, sorry. My bad.
Is the documentation, is there a documentation specific task in here? Or is that what this is meant to be?
Yeah, that's what it's meant to be.
Cool. Great.
Thanks.
Support is a dangerous word in OSS communities, but documentation is not a dangerous word at all. All right, moving down the list. Thank you, Nawaz. I'm unaware. Cecilia, I see your avatar here. Are you aware of status on this?
Yeah, it's still blocked. No updates. We talked about it last time. Waiting for
Kick it
cloud
till next
provider
week
fix.
or move it off the milestone? now?
Yeah, the PR is ready. So if we did get an update from cloud provider, we would be able to get the CABZ side of it reviewed. But let's wait a bit more. And if we don't see progress, I think we can kick it out.
Got it. And we're blocked on out of tree. So we'd be blocked on a release of out of tree cloud provider. Not
Yes, but it's a bug. So I think it would be backported.
right. Cool. I'm just clarifying between that, and I know that upstream Kubernetes has a dependency on that work stream as well, but that's orthogonal to CAPC, it seems like. Okay, great. Oh, I see. Here are the docs. So we've got three that all refer to that same sort of larger work stream that was. Great. Does anyone know? I feel like I looked at this at some point. Anyone know anything about this? This is Francesco, right? Yeah. I don't see Francesco here today. Do we have any PRs? Okay, so a month ago, we moved this from 1.8 to 1.9. Cecile, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is part of the CABZ office hours when we triage bugs and we said this one looks important. We should look into it. Let's put it in the milestone. And I don't think it's assigned to anyone yet. So if anyone's looking for something to pick up, this would probably be a good one.
Cool. All it doesn't look right. I don't think this is too much work. So let's give someone an opportunity to maybe pick it up. All right. This must be something that was opened recently, Cecile and Ashtosh. I've seen progress on that.
Yeah, the PR I'm open for review. So this is workload and FTPR. I see Anish has provided some comments. I'll incorporate those. Otherwise, it's open for review. Are you talking about workload identity, right? Like 2205?
Well, just in order of this list, I was looking at this one first. So is this the actual implementation, or is this an issue that tracks the actual
That's
implementation?
the
Is that right?
issue.
Cool.
That is the issue.
And that's blocked on progress of this is blocked on this.
That's the design proposal. Yeah.
Cool.
There's one
Yeah.
more PR below that.
Great. Yep. I've seen you and Anish from afar. I've
Yeah.
seen you discussing, so that's great. Okay, can we close this? Can we close this? Can we close this? Sorry if I'm moving on too fast from that, but just interrupt me.
No, not yet. Sorry, still looking
Not yet.
into it.
Okay.
I started again this morning, but not there yet.
Okay. Happy to apply more pressure. Okay. Okay, Jonathan, are you here? I'm not. Oh yeah, there's Jonathan. I'm gonna hand it off to you. Is this gonna land in 1.9 according to your best guess?
I'm still trying to get the machine pool machines PR merged first, because this is kind of a follow-up to that one to get Azure machine pools or machine pool machines done. So as of now, I'm still prioritizing machine pool machines. So I would tentatively say probably not.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Let's go ahead. I'll pause for any concerns, but I'm gonna, based on that response, go ahead and kick it to, that's not what I wanted to do. I'm going to kick it to the next. Are we doing the next thing or are we doing the no milestones? I'm gonna do next. That seems like the same thing to do. Matt seems like we're making this up as we go along. All right. Okay, ASO, this is looking good. I'm not aware of the details of this one. Does anyone know? Matt, I see your avatar.
I just need to follow up. I don't think there's a big issue there, but I haven't gotten around to it. I'll try and look at it this week.
Okay, cool. Next one, Azure Machine Template occasionally fails to find Azure cluster identity. That sounds like a bummer. Do we have a read on this, Cecile? No, or is it just signed? Got it. Let's keep that in, and you added in chat to Marcus help. Oh, you already did Marcus help one. Great. It's going to do the same thing there. Okay, show an error when a SKU does not support accelerated networking. That I know is harder than you can formulate in a sentence. Nawaz, have you made any progress on that?
Sorry, I was context switching. Which one was that?
All good, all good. Show an error when a SKU, so SKU is, I assume, shorthand for VM SKU, does not support accelerated networking, which is an Azure feature that applies to certain VMs over other VMs.
I didn't get a chance to look into it. Let me take a look and then update this data so that it should be there in the current release or not.
Okay, cool. My personal opinionated guidance is to kick this one, because this would probably be a decent amount of dedicated work, a week or two or something like that. Go ahead, Cecile.
Yeah, Nawaz isn't actually assigned to that when he just authored the issue. I think this is another one of those help wanted bugs that we put in the milestone as a, let's try to get all the bugs fixed.
Yeah, I would say let's just kick this out. You've got other stuff that's more important on your plate, Nawaz, and it has the appropriate labels.
Okay. Yeah.
Does anybody have any objections to that? Cool. It'll save us 30 seconds next week. Okay. I won't fix this milestone. It was annoying when it happened, and I'm happy I followed an issue, but I'm not going to prioritize that. So that, sorry if I'm going too quick. While I was doing some testing of out of tree, building from out of tree bits, I noticed that our scripts have some edge cases with macOS. Someone raised, Cecile, go ahead.
Yeah, isn't that pretty blocking for all the devs using macOS or to repro things locally? Or is there a way around it?
It would be, for the particular thing, it would be blocking. I don't know how many folks are doing local repros, but yes, and I don't know how many folks of those few folks who are doing that are using macOS.
Okay. Is the reason
I'm hearing a
kick
vote for
to
keeping it in the milestone, so I'm happy
yeah,
to do that.
I guess I'm just surprised because I thought you already had the fix working for it. We just decided to move it to a different PR.
Well, it would require like a refactor of the function flows in CI entry point, which I'm not super eager to do again after all the recent stuff. So, but I'm super happy to keep it. I think the issue is hopefully fairly clear. And so anyone else can, let me go ahead and do this.
Yeah, I mean, it won't be like urgent until next time we run into an issue and someone is trying to fix the issue and also gets blocked by this.
Wise words. So you're saying we should just punt it until that time? Sounds like what you're saying.
No, I'm saying we probably will thank ourselves later if we
Yes,
don't
yes.
punt it. But
I'm hearing
I mean,
a great procrastination
I'm-
case here.
I'm on Linux, so but
Yeah.
I think, yeah, I don't know. I would say if it's not too hard, it's probably wise to get it done.
Go ahead, Willie.
Just something random. Are you planning on working on it? Because it says you're still assigned.
I was planning on working on it because I found it and I am planning on using Mac OS indefinitely. And of those few folks who do these tests, I am one of those. And so it impacts me probably more than anyone else. So it only seemed fair that I would work on it. I just haven't prioritized that.
Oh, because you put I was just wondering because you put the help wanted tag, but you're still assigned. So I was wondering if you wanted someone else to work on it.
That's actually an interesting conversation. So is this wrong? Willie's pointing out that I'm assigned and it's help wanted. And so is that, imagine a hypothetical person looking for something in the issue queue, filtering by help wanted. Would that person probably just filter out things that are already assigned because they'd be like, oh, that actually doesn't need help wanted. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, that's what I've seen people do, exactly. So if it's assigned, they'll assume that it's taken.
Let me do this then. I think, so thank you for calling that out, Willie. So I think that's best issue hygiene. Good call. Go ahead, Cecile.
Yeah, I agree with Matt. Also, just in general, if you're not working actively on an issue, it's better to unassign so that people who might want to work on it can, even if there's no help wanted tag.
Yeah, I mean, if we're bike shedding about this, for myself, an interesting thing is how to pop something into like a personal interest backlog stack without assigning to myself. So that way in my, I come to work on a Thursday and I've got some cycles. What could I work on? And assigning something sort of eagerly is a way of potentially preparing for that process. But as you point out, it also potentially signals to someone else that they shouldn't work on it, so there's like a conflicting thing there. You create a project. Okay, fair enough. I just read what Cecile's chatting about. So I think what Cecile's suggesting is work harder. Don't try to take shortcuts. So basically, if you want to do what I just described, a better way to do that would be to create your own GitHub project, which would then essentially organize these issues in a way that you want, that's completely opaque from everybody else. And so they would be able to, they wouldn't have to be forced to like interpret between someone else's sort of classification and their own. Go ahead, Cecile. I can see her.
Yeah, because like if everyone starts doing that and it's like, oh, I might work on this issue someday, then it becomes really hard to keep the issue queue up to date, right? So if you do it in a way that's personal, and you said the word backlog, which made me think of project, because a project is literally a backlog, right? That might be a good way. I just keep a OneNote like list of links, but that's, yeah.
I keep a tab in my browser, but I also share that with like my air conditioning, contractor. So it's complicated. All right. Great. We were there. So, okay, cool. Next one. And if we want to time box this and do another form of milestone review, just feel free to interrupt me. This, I don't think anyone's working on this, but I think we should try to knock this out. So maybe, John, I will assign this to both of us and we can kind of race and hold each other accountable. Looks like it's assigned to you from a while back. Is that right?
Yeah, that was a while ago. I haven't touched this since I opened the issue. So
Yeah, let's try to pester one another to knock. This should be hopefully a 15-minute audit, and then worst case scenario, a couple hours of PR, making the documentation, filling those gaps if they exist. All right, cool. Talk to you next week. All right, actually not next week, 2 weeks. That's actually a good call out. So we're really near the milestone and the milestone because we're not even going to do this for a couple weeks. So no pressure. Matt, do you have any updates on this? I know this is sort of like
I do. We're kind of blocked. I mean, we've made progress in that we had a lot of back and forth with the Azure quota team and support. And basically they're saying, no, the type of account that we use to do all the testing is not one that they're ever going to give us quota for the new GPU types for. And we've argued the obvious logical thing, which is, hey, we're already using GPUs. You told us to move to a different SKU, but you're telling us you won't give us any of those. That's not good. So anyway, we're kind of stuck right now. I'm actually not really sure. This issue accomplished its goal of getting me off my butt to start the conversation at least. So I'm glad. I think we should leave it here. But I think we're a little blocked right now. I'm not really sure which way to proceed.
Can you describe what is the functional surface area that we test for GPU in CAPZ? What are we actually testing in CAPZ?
What are we testing in CAPZ?
Like, for example, does CAPZ add any GPU specific
we add
node annotations via machines or something like that?
We don't. We just install the NVIDIA operator and it does its magic, and then we check that it exposed the GPU resource, and then we run a simple GPU calculation job. It's not.
So
you
really
can argue
we're
it's not
testing
super CAPZ specific, but the other thing is if we're not testing it, then it doesn't exist. That we should get rid of the feature, and that would be sad.
What feature is that? That's actually what I want to know. What CAPZ feature do we have for GPUs?
That we know we work with GPUs. I guess it's just it's sort of like our Kubernetes support. Does it encompass GPUs? I don't know. We're certainly looking at the idea that maybe we just stop testing it.
Well, it sounds like, to me, what we're testing is a very particular NVIDIA installation flow against a few particular Azure SKUs to sort of give potentially an end user a small set of, we know this works. We know that if you use this SKU or these SKUs, and that if you follow this NVIDIA installation, that you're going to be able to run Kubernetes on Azure with GPU support, like irrespective of CAPZ. It doesn't sound like we're doing anything for CAPZ whatsoever. So we're just sort of, on behalf of that part of the Kubernetes on Azure ecosystem, we're providing some minimal functional validation. Is that fair?
I think so.
So I think that someone should do that testing. It's not clear that that should be something that has anything to do with CAPZ development. Like, I would say worst case scenario is that we stop testing this and no one takes it up. So we don't want to do that.
You could argue,
the fact that we're testing it like in PRs, and then PRs are being, PR authors in CAPZ are saying, the GPU test failed. I wonder what that means about my PR. That's potentially problematic. Go ahead, Cecile.
Matt, you were going to say something. Go ahead.
No, I'm done. Go ahead.
I think we're essentially testing the template flavor and the docs because, like, you're right, there's no specific GPU code, but we have docs that document this is how you would create a GPU enabled cluster on CAPZ, and we have this flavor that gets published as part of release artifacts. And so I guess, like, if we were to break that template by making a change to the template and then not have a GPU test, we would potentially not realize that, and then a user might try to use that flavor and run into an issue. So I think that's what we're testing.
Go ahead, Matt.
And in practice, the thing it's actually caught for us is just that things rusted, like NVIDIA's signing key changed and so that we can't install the chart anymore, or some components changed because they float, they're not pinned and something. So it has served the purpose of keeping us compatible with NVIDIA's components.
So one observation, what Cecile said, I think it's super important that every reference template we publish gets tested. And if it's not, then really the default should be, we shouldn't be publishing this reference template. We should just remove it.
Yeah, I feel like if we can't run this test, we ought to remove the template and everything. It's not a supported feature if we're not testing it. It doesn't exist.
Cool. The other observation or the other potential path would be to work in the NVIDIA community to scaffold Azure specific tests into the NVIDIA CI. That would be the absolute best case scenario. It's very aspirational. Has anyone tried that?
Don't think so.
Right. Well, we would clearly pay for it. Go ahead, Cecile.
Yeah, that wouldn't solve the issue we're having with not being able to get the SKU on a sponsored subscription, right? Like it would essentially be the same thing, except instead of CNCF, it'd be NVIDIA, right? Unless NVIDIA is willing to get an Azure subscription or get
if they
GPU
could,
SKUs.
yeah, we can maybe work with, I don't know, aspirational, like somehow integrate with CNCF test grid where we could put our stuff in there. My main high level observation is that we have a fairly incomplete strategic idea of what we're doing here in terms of testing. And it's taking a lot of effort for us to manage this over a long period of time. So it just seems like we might want to rethink everything here, because Matt, you've been tracking this for a long time. You're spending your time reaching out to the folks that are telling you that you can't actually do what you want to do. It sounds like a lot of time. So
it hasn't been a lot of time. It's a mild stress about what are we going to do now that we don't have a path forward that's clear. I don't know that it's taken a lot of time. Overall, the GPU feature has taken a fair amount of time in the past, but now it's just kind of maintenance.
Cool. I could help by not talking for 5 minutes every time I come on this issue, but sorry.
Well, anyway, I think we've summarized
I'm taking
where
more
we're
time.
We're kind of stuck on this one, yeah.
Okay, cool. Let's kick this out of the milestone, because I'm not hearing anything that suggests it's going to be done in the next sort of 10 business days. Is that fair? Cool. So we'll talk about it in a month. All right, so we were right. I forget exactly what's going on here. Willie, maybe you don't forget. Go ahead. I'm reminded.
Yes. So basically, there's an old machine pool drain test that was flaky, and I had to comment it out because it would just flood the logs in the end test. But I haven't gotten the chance to work on this yet because I've been busy with some other issues. So I'd say probably move it to next.
Cool. I don't love that I submitted this issue over a year ago. I feel like the way it's formulated just sounds super harsh. Okay, milestone.
Yeah,
change the description to everything's actually fine, nothing to worry about here. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, this is just I think a higher priority though, because it'd be nice to have a cordon and drain test that's working. But I think there were some issues getting it to work before, so it might take a bit of time.
Right. We do have stuff that's happening. The CAPI tests do some form of that. I know that the surface area is very broad, and so maybe it's not doing every possible cordon drain gesture. But yeah, thanks for working on that. Matt, looks like your avatar is here. Is this something for next milestone? Are we working on it?
Boy, I don't really remember. I'm still getting stuck. I don't know. I'll have to follow up.
Cool. I'm gonna call it next.
I think that's the Calico, I think it'd be good.
Oh,
if
right.
We've already been pushing that back for a while. It's the, whenever you use a CNI or machine pool basically doesn't report state accurately because it says it's updating, even though it's not updating. It's just that it's waiting for CNI.
That's right. But maybe there's some way around that because that doesn't happen with machine deployments that way.
Right. I think I mean I remember vaguely looking at the code in CapZ when we were looking at Flex, and there is like a place where we're doing this and we could just change it in CapZ. It should be an easy fix.
So this is a bug for Azure Machine Pool. In Azure Machine Pool.
It's it's
Or
a
maybe
UX
Cappy.
bug. It's not
Yeah.
functional, but it's just it reports the wrong status.
Can I
let's-
change this to Azure Machine Pool so we don't think it's a machine pool bug?
Or is it-
Sure. Yeah.
Just because there's folks working on lots of machine pool things.
Yeah, and I think that the title is maybe inaccurate because when we opened the issue, we thought it was broken, but then we realized it's not broken. It's just the status is a bit weird.
But let's leave this at the milestone.
How about that? Is that more accurate?
Can you say updating state instead of provisioning? And then yeah, I think that's good.
And is it really getting stuck? Is it blocked?
It's
like-
not stuck. It's just it stays in updating state
it
until
flap?
CNI is
Oh, I
applied.
see. I see. I see.
Yeah, I think that's more clear. Thanks.
Okay, it's actually not clear to me why that's a problem, but that's fine. I don't need to know. All right, we're keeping in the milestone. Does that sound reasonable to you, Matt? Do you feel like you can spin up on this further? Okay, cool. Awesome. Thank you.
Seal said it was an easy fix.
Cecile
It's on,
said it
it's on
was,
record
then.
now.
Okay. Hmm. This might be something I can try to knock off like today. Sorry, I'm just gonna see what the chances of this being a John, do you recall actually looking into this, or did you just do some basic triage?
Sorry, which issue was this?
I apologize. This is something that just your avatar did something last month, so you probably don't remember it at all. Support kubelet user managed identity on AKS DMSS pool. So I am expecting that the most likely outcome is that this is an additional property that we expose that's a string that points to a resource URI, which should be something we can do fairly quickly. So I'll go ahead and get started on this today. I don't have to put my avatar because I am me. Okay, cool. I'm gonna keep that tab open. All right. How did I get lost? There we go. Yeah, that's a bummer. Let's not think we're gonna fix this in this milestone. Go ahead, Cecile.
No, I have pretty good hope that we are. So update, I just got an update this morning. So basically there's a straightforward fix for this, which is to switch to using MCR images, which we're already doing for cloud provider anyways, which is the reason why cloud provider is not running into the issues while doing scale up. I've been working with an internal Azure team, who's a sister team of ours who publishes these images, and they are basically refactoring the pipeline to do some simplifying. And anyways, they're getting really close. Like the PR is under review as of this morning. So I'm hoping that I'm missing one of the images. All of them are already there, but I'm hoping once that merges, I'll have the other image, and my PR to switch is already ready. It's work in progress. There's a PR associated. So that
So
PR is
you're-
just blocked on that.
I see.
last
So we can
image.
actually pass this into the Helm chart at runtime.
Yeah, so it's exposed as the registry is exposed as the value. If you check that
That's-
PR, that's what it's doing.
That's literally the first time ever when dealing with the Calico Helm chart where I said, let me see if this is something I can configure in the Helm chart. And the answer was not no. So that's great. Okay, awesome. Great. Thanks for picking up. And that will obviously help some folks running big clusters. Okay, we talked about this. Nuance is working on that. Is this the same thing? This is the same thing. Is this
It's a different one. So there's kubelet
User
identity, and then
identity.
there's they're open the same day though, I think, or very close together from the same user.
Control plane identity. Got it. I'm gonna try to knock these both off at the same time because they should be very contextually the same. Okay, cool. Has anyone been in touch with Mateus on this? This is a self-reported issue.
And was discovered it actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Might have context.
Yeah, thanks, Cecile. So I have a PR where, so the context is that the flat card tests on the CAPZ side are failing, but we haven't discovered it. So I forgot the name of the user. He started working on it, and he and I have to sync again, saying if the flat car images on the CAPZ side are actually failing or not. So if you look at the current tests on the flat car, it says all green, but then when you try to run it locally, the load balancer doesn't come up, meaning the workload cluster doesn't come up healthy.
Right. So we're just not testing that in the flat car scenario. Is that why? Okay, got it.
Yeah.
So this test signal is actually lying to us. Got it. Cool. Not cool, but cool.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
he just got back to me on my PR. I'll have to get back to him saying, yeah, it's not working. So
Okay.
that will improve.
It sounds like we're keeping this in the milestone, so we'll chat in a couple weeks and see if we've made progress. Does that sound fair?
That sounds fair. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you, Nawaz. Do you want to assign this to you because you're doing work on it? Oh, sorry, that's your PR. Where?
Yeah, that's
was
the one.
thing we were talking about. This one. I'm gonna assign this to you as well because it sounds like you're.
Okay. But
Is that controversial? Tell me not to do it if I'm doing something wrong.
yeah, actually, because NVIDIA is the person who's trying to fix that. So he already has a couple of fixes going in. I was just improving the test. So I think it's better on his plate.
Cool. Thank you. All right. Has anyone reviewed this PR in the last month?
Yep, I started reviewing it. There are a lot of I went until like probably 60% to 80%, but then there was a context switch and then I couldn't update. I should have updated half of the review, but I'll complete it soon enough.
Okay, cool. I mean, it looks like a very useful thing and a big PR. So let us, feel free to loop in other folks to help with the review process. Go ahead, Cecile.
Yeah, do you need help with it, Noaz, or would you rather finish your review first and then have others jump in?
Oh, if others want to jump in, it's totally okay too. I don't want to be blocking it.
Yeah, I would imagine because this is coming from a contributor, we're not going to have like a new test scenario, and that will make it kind of hard to really validate this. Go ahead, Willie.
Yeah, I'd be happy to help review this. So yeah, feel free to assign me or I'll take a look when I get time.
So I'm going to actually, this is just what I do sometimes. I'm going to digress a little bit. So we talked about GPUs earlier, and I was trying to make the discovery if we're doing anything in CAPZ to support GPUs, and it doesn't sound like we are. So this is sort of analogous. This is a slightly different type of VM profile in Azure that you would use to run different types of workload requirements. And it looks to me like we're definitely doing a bunch of interesting things in CapZ to support this. So this we really need tests on, although it might be equivalently difficult because we need to get VM SKU quota for at least one VM that can do this, and then we would need to simulate a workload. So that part might be hard, but I would argue that based on what I'm looking at, this is actually more important that we have tests for this scenario than we have for GPU in CapZ. Does this make sense, what I'm saying?
Yep.
I'm not
it
trying to
does.
make your review process, Nawaz and Willie, even more stressful, but just an observation.
Cool. Cool.
All right, we are almost at the end of this list. That flat car PR looks like the one you're referencing earlier, Nawaz. Thanks for doing that. I think this is getting reviewed, so I'm going to keep that in. I've sort of noticed that. And Ashtosh and Cecile, I see your avatars for this one. It looks like it's LGTM. Should we just approve it?
Yeah, I LGTM'd it. I was hoping for another review from Ashtosh before it merges.
Cool.
But I think he dropped from the call.
I will. All right. Okay, do we want to do any more milestone review? We've done a lot of milestone review. I thought this was going to be a short meeting, which is good. Or is this sufficient milestone review? How is everyone's milestone review capacity? Does your cup runneth over? I don't understand what that means. Oh, too much milestone review.
Yeah,
And
we've
then
been at it for a while. We could take a break.
Cool. Jonathan, you choose your words sparingly, but effectively. All right. Happy KubeCon week next week, everyone. Hopefully enjoy some uninterrupted time. And it looks like Ashtosh has dropped, but for anyone going to KubeCon, have fun.
Thanks, Jack.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks, Jack.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.